put out a video that modern movies just don't look the same as the movies from.
Thank you for doing this video. It's a beautiful job right here. I have to agree, videos are not what they used to be with this new digital age and just trying to show everything off versus using negative fill and color, tone, and control. Editors just aren't doing that anymore. Colorists aren't really doing that anymore. Now they're just trying to throw as much of the image and every ounce of dynamic range you can pull out of it versus using a dynamic range to allow you to isolate colors, isolate hues, isolate points in the image to bring someone into it, to draw them in. And I think that's an area where it's just not the same. You and I approach it differently because I generally just do it off of a symbol lot and how I was filming out there. The combination just turns in pretty easy. Now I build my own LUTs too. I don't use the Sony LUTs and everything else because after using them for a little bit, I see that they're trying to push wide dynamic range, not control of the image and where you want someone to look. And this is one of the weaknesses of these new digital cameras with 14 stops of dynamic range, 15, 16 stops of dynamic range, is that everyone wants to use every ounce of dynamic range they can, and it's not necessary. Dynamic range is to give you a bigger palette to work with to then control what you're painting with it. And that's really what dynamic range is for. And that's why when we went to like 12-bit RAW to 14-bit RAW in photography, it was like, oh, I can now control that range. I can now make this work the way I want to. Now, I love the work you do. Like, you get down in the nitty-gritty in the face and everything else, and you can do that, but it's not always necessary, and the tracking is not always necessary, the texture is not always necessary. You can still pull a lot of that off with just some simple LUT work and get 90% of where you're at, and it just looks gorgeous to start off the bat. What you do is that last 10%, which I think is absolutely amazing. That's where you get your exponentials in that last little bit. But getting to the 90%, we can definitely do that now without overextending this dynamic range and overusing the dynamic range. I appreciate you doing the video. I'm just going to continue to enjoy watching you do this LUT work and how you're building with a bunch of noise. I think you're at like 7. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 7 noise have been added just to clean up that image. That's fine. You can do that. I don't do that many noise just to make some color changes. And take care, brother. Peace.